Hi, my name's Daniel. I'm from Transco Trailer Sales. I'm going to be walking you through your 2023 Connect 191 Mbse. We're just going to start off the back of the trailer. If you notice, you are pre-wired for an observation camera. If you want to get set up with that, you can contact our parts department and they can get you all set up for that. You do have your spare tire back here as well as the ladder to get up to your roof to check your seals. In the back bumper here, we do just have this sewer hose. Once fully extended, it's about 20 feet long. Just take note of those two ears there. They're the same two ears that go on your sewer hose outlet, which I'll show you in a second. In this corner, as well as all four corners of the unit, you do have stabilizer jacks. The way those work is you just hook up a tool to this bolt here, run these down to the ground, give it another 1/8 quarter turn once the foot contacts the ground, just to snug it up, and it's just going to take any bounce or sway that you have in the unit. Off to the left here is just your black tank flush. Let's say your monitor panel's giving you false readings or you're noticing a smell accumulating. You can just hook a garden hose up to here with your sewer hose connected and your valve open. Turn on the water and it'll just rinse out that tank, trying to get everything that little bit cleaner. And then we do have your power cord inlet. You got this little notch here. It lines up with that notch there. It should just connect right on in. Give another 1/8 turn to lock it in, and then you got your threaded collar to lock it into place. If you follow that back, you do have your standard 30 amp plug end. Most campsites should have this so you can plug right on in, but let's say you're at home, you want to run your fridge. If your campsite doesn't have 30 amp service, we do also include a 15 amp park adapter. Just keeping in mind you're going down to 15 amps power, so you can't run something like your air conditioner. Also, you do have lights up top here, blue lights telling you have a successful power source. If a red light were to be on, it's telling you have a bad power source, so that would be the first place I would check. This is your sewer outlet, it's where your sewer hose connects to. You got a black tank and a gray tank. Your black tank's gonna be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets, so you're gonna wanna empty that first. Then you can come behind that with your gray tank, which is filled from your showers and your sinks. It's just gonna be a little bit of cleaner water, trying to rinse that hose out a little bit. You also have right beside that your low point drains. You open up these valves, it's going to drain all the water that's inside the lines. Just trying to keep that stale or stagnant water out of there. Just in front of the tires is where you're going to find your fresh tank drain. Open that guy, it's going to drain your fresh tank. You open up this docking station. You will notice you got hot and cold water little faucet area. You take this connector, you plug it on in, and you can have hot and cold water at the end of this hose. And you can just disconnect it quick once you're done with it. And this is also going to be your city water connection. Hook up your sewer hose to this guy here, turn it on. It's just going to fill up Take a water hose, thread it onto here, and it's going to pressurize all your lines, so there's no need to run your water pump. And you also have two coax plugins underneath here, as well as that is your fresh water fill. So that'll fill your fresh water tank if you stick a garden hose on there. The front compartment here, that's just that 15 amp park adapter I told you about. Front of the trailer, you do have your battery box, which houses your battery. And then you do have a battery disconnect right in front of that. That's just how you disconnect your batteries from the unit. If you undo these two caps here, it does give you access to your propane tanks, in which case you can do what you got to do. But for the purpose of this video, I'll just take the cover right off. Got this little selector valve. This is just going to allow you to select between the two tanks. So once one goes empty, you can switch it over to the other one. Just a standard style barbecue tank. You can open it up and it's going to open up the flow to the unit. You do have your front ton jack. One way's up, the other way's down. And then you do just have this nice little light in the front in case you're hooking up at night. And then just right on the top here, you do have this little rubber cap. If you pull it off, it'll give you access to a nut. That's just your manual override. You do have a tool for that in the front compartment, which I'll show you in a second. Inside this front compartment, this is just going to be the tool for your front and rear jacks. One way's up, one way's down. And they also include, this is just that front tongue jack override I was telling you about. You've got this little leash latch here if you want to hook up the dog. And then just right here is just your overhead fan vent lid. With it like this, it's just going to allow those fumes to exit. But let's say you're traveling, you do just want to close that up and snap it into place. That way no dust gets trapped inside the unit. No dust gets sucked inside the unit. Keeps that little bit cleaner inside. Take a note, your furnace exhaust is just right here. So whenever your furnace is running, it's blowing out hot air. So just be mindful of that. You do have two 110 plugs underneath that cap. And then just right here is your hot water service port. Open that up, pull that off. You do have your drain bolt right on the bottom here. Whenever you get to your campsite, just always making sure you have that pressure relief valve to pull. A shot of water should come out of here. This unit's currently winterized, so there's going to be no water coming out. That's telling you that your tank's empty, in which case it wouldn't be safe to fire up the water heater because you run the risk of burning out your tank. I'm going to go over a reset procedure inside. The button I'm referring to is just right here. Get inside, you just take your assist handle, push it up, hold it 90 degrees, it locks into place. Opening up this door, just keep it in mind, whenever you have this door fully open, you're not going to be able to run that awning because it does contact the door. So always just making sure you have that door open enough for it to be able to clear that. Whenever you are running your stairs down, the door does have to be fully open just so it doesn't make any contact. If you see these two knobs here, if you give them a pull, you can adjust the height of your feet depending on your campsite needs. Taking a step on side, right on your right is just your fire extinguisher. It's very simple, pull the pin and shoot. And then you do have your monitor panel system, which has a little motion sensor and illuminates itself when it notices something in front of it, which is nice. And it is where most of your controls are housed. You got your living room lights, your awning light switch, your water pump switch. You got your gas and electric switches for turning them on. So let's say you were to turn that on gas, you hit that button. Whenever you go to fire it up on gas, it is going to try and light itself 3 times. If on the 3rd try it doesn't light itself, this DSI fault light's going to come on, at which point you do just have to hit this button off, go hit that reset button and try turning it back on. It'll try relighting itself, because sometimes it does take a bit to get the air out of the lines. Or you can just fire it up on electric. And then you do have your slide out button. You hit that button out, and it's going to start making its way out. Once that slide out's fully extended, you're going to hear the whines and the clicks of the motor, and you can just let off that button. This is also equipped with Bluetooth connectivity, so if you download the Connect One app, you can connect your phone, and you can have all the access that this panel gives you right on your phone. You just need to create an account on the app and hold the connect button, and it'll instruct you through it. And then you do have your awning button. Hitting that button, extend, that awning's going to start making its way out. But you just do want to make sure that your door isn't blocking your way. Hitting that button, extend, the awning's going to make its way out. Once it's fully extended, you see the back of the metal tube and the little flap hang down. That's going to give you when you're going to know you're fully extended. So there you go, there's that little flap, and there you see the back of the metal tube. Now if it were to start raining, you can take any arm, front or rear, pull down on it. That's going to change the pitch of the awning head, allowing water to then run off. Now if you do like that pitch better because it allows for more shade, you can do the same thing with the front arm. Just always making sure you push the back straight whenever you go to retract your awning in. That way you don't run the risk of bending anything, and you are going to want to bring in that awning whenever the winds start picking up. All the lights in this unit are on their own individual push buttons, so even though you have the main switch to turn most of them on or off, you can turn them on or off individually as well. If you get the bed down, you just grab the foot of the bed, allow it to fold out, take these safety latches, allow the bed to start making its way down, just making sure you hold the foot contacts the ground, mattress falls down behind it. You do have a window in front there. All the blinds inside the unit do work the same way. They just kind of sit where you leave them. This bed on each side of the bed does have plug-ins for charging or whatever to bring it in. You're just lifting, pushing it in, making sure those latches lock into place. To get the bed to fold in, you do just grab the foot of the couch to fold in. You just grab the foot of the couch, lift up, assist with the top of the couch, allowing it to fold back into place. You do have storage on each side of the bed. The air conditioning in this unit does just move all its air through the floor duct or the ceiling ducting you see, and then the heater does move all its air through the floor vents you see. You got your main entertainment center here. You got a TV backer, coax plug-ins. This little green light being on is just telling you that the antenna on the roof is on. That is also going to improve radio frequency, but you can turn it off just with this little button here. Right underneath that, you do just have your stereo. That's going to be just like home, minus the fact that you have zone A, zone B. Zone A is going to be your interior speakers. Zone B is going to be your exterior speakers. Inside the kitchen area, your oven, which is a propane oven and stove. Also, the furnace inside this unit is also propane. Propane's heavier than air. This little LP detector down here is going to detect it. If this guy ever starts going off, you are just going to want to turn off the main supply propane at the front of the unit and open up all the windows just to try and ventilate it and get the fumes out. Whenever you were running your stove, I do recommend running your overhead fan. You have a microwave right above that. That's going to be just like home. To get your stove going, you're just going to flip that cover up. You're going to turn those knobs over to light. Now, if you leave the unit for a while with the propane off, it does take a minute just to clear all the air out of the lines. So just being patient with it. And just allowing it to slowly purge itself and just hit that igniter. Eventually it will light. Just got to be patient with it sometimes. And there you go. That lights right on up. Lighting the stove or the oven is the same kind of idea. You're just taking this knob, turning it over to the pilot option while holding it in. You can turn on that light underneath just to help us see. Now, sometimes it can take a minute, but you're just going to hit that sparker and eventually the pilot light's going to light on its own. Like I said, sometimes it can take a minute just to clear the air out of the lines. So just let it sit for a minute with you holding it in. And eventually it will light. And there you go. You get that pilot light. Hold it in for another second. So it just gives it a second to hold it. Once it's holding on its own, you can turn it up to your desired temperature and it'll fire right on up. You got your sink with hot and cold water. You also have your 12-volt Furrion fridge with the controls just being on the right here. You can see you do have an off-grid section. So if you weren't plugged into shore power and just running on 12-volt, this is going to be the most energy-efficient option to run on. And then this fridge does come equipped with a charcoal filter, which we do sell more of. You can contact our parts department for some more of those. It's just to help keep some of the smell out of the fridge. Right below that, you do have your breaker panel and fuse panel. Whenever a fuse pops, you're gonna have a little red indicator light telling you which one's popped. And whenever a breaker goes off, it's gonna sit in the middle, so you just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. Now, if you're wanting to do winterizing yourself, your hot water tank is just gonna be hidden by this false panel on the right, and the access to your water pump is just gonna be the false panel on your left. There's just one screw holding each in. On the wall here, right below your control panel, which I already showed you, you do have your thermostat. That works pretty simple. You have which system you want to run off on the left, and then you have the fan option on the right with your temperature selector up top. So if you have it on, the fan is going to run full time. no matter what, it won't turn off. If you have it on auto, it becomes an on-demand system, so the fan will kick in and out as needed as the thermostat senses the temperature change. And then you do just have heat, which is going to be far right. You turn that on, and then if you go to the left, that's going to be off. And then the two on the left, the first one's going to be fan, the second one's going to be cool. Fan is just moving air around with the air conditioner, no cooling involved. And cool is when the cooling does take into effect. Inside the bathroom, you do have a fan overhead, sink and a shower with hot and cold water. And then you do just have your main GFI plug on the wall behind you. If you ever have a plug that doesn't work, that would be the first place I'd check. Test on the bottom, reset on the top. If that green light's on, you do have a good circuit. That is going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.